Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Saturday morning practice. And for those of you who are new here, we'll be spending the next hour and a half on what we call the bootcamp, weekly bootcamp. But it's also a sanctuary for us to escape from the bombardment and the manipulations that's going on out there, including politics. And so we alternate from week to week. And in a way, we can think about our practice as part of the 8 limbs of the yogic practice, with the practice of the body being the one that is more popular in the West, the practice of the asana. But today we're going to be doing what we're going to be doing is an exercise called Ying Jing, YJJ, which translates into exchange of tendon. In this case, it's less about the tendon. It's really about clearing the channel of the connective tissue. Turns out that they are the same in Chinese. And it was a practice that's brought to us from a Indian yogi back in the before the Tang Dynasty. So that's almost 2,000 years ago. So we're going to be starting with some finger exercise, massage, tapping, acupressure, with the idea that we're just going to be clearing all the energy channels. The energy channels, the Western scientists now believes that there are actually the channels that exist between the muscle, between the blood vessels, and so forth. Essentially, the connected tissues, what we now call fascia, except that fascia typically means myofascia, which is only limited to the muscle. In any case, we're going to be starting some massage exercise at the fingertips. The fingertips are the exchange points at the extremities. So let's take out our left hand, focus on the fingers, focus on the fingertips. And it's important that we also practice our mind. So let's anchor our mind onto our body and keep checking our mind, make sure that our mind is not drift somewhere else. It likes to do that. And then we're going to take our right thumb and just use the tip of the fingers and massage, tip of the thumb and massage those fingers one at a time. Be very mindful, focus on the change of the body, the sensation, focus on the heat that you might generate. You might even generate some pain, or might generate some comfort, some warmth. Now we're going to start, after we finish with the fingertip, we're going to start along the fingers. So we're going to massage the joints. And again, focus on one joint at a time. And when you finish with one finger, you move on to the next fingers. Now, as we age, we suffer from arthritis. Arthritis is inflammation of the joints. And in fact, we suffer of inflammation, chronic inflammation all over the body. And the Chinese have a very simple way of explaining that. It says basically that if your channels, your energy channels are clear, then your pain will disappear. Now we're going to massage the right hand using the left thumb, again, one joint at a time. So as you massage, not only are you relieving the pain on the fingers, you actually relieve the pain all over the body. Because actually, what you're doing is you're improving the energy flow. Okay, so now we finish with the inside of our palm. We're going to turn it around, and then starting with the fingertip. But this time, we're going to massage the corner of the fingernail. So take your thumb and your index finger and squeeze the two corners. And then on the right hand, same thing. And if you study what is called meridian, which is the name that we give to the energy channel, on the yang channel, the one is facing the sun, typically start at the corner of the fingernail. Now we're going to massage the joints. Again, one joint at a time. Focus on the fingers. Observe the change in your body. One joint at a time. And then now go on the other end. And the reason that you want to focus your mind, anchor your mind, is as you massage, you actually want to return to the rest and digest, the parasympathetic nerve. And one way you know that is you start to feel slivers in your mouth. So you will notice, keep keep an eye on me, that even after hour and a half, even after non-stop exercise, I'm still trying very hard to swallow all my saliva. Because when I tell you to focus on the body, that's what I do, right? Okay, so now we're going to massage the fingers some more. So I want you to use the thumb and just run along the length of the fingers. Massage. And then do the same thing on the other side. Run along the length of the fingers. And then do it on the back of the hand again. Run along the length. And then the right hand. Now I'm going to be moving up from the fingertips to in between the fingers. So I want you to take the right thumb, use the edge of the thumb, and just massage in between the fingers, one at a time. And then same thing on the other side. We're going to focus on the four fingers first. We'll come back to the thumb in a minute. And then we're going to massage in between the knuckle, again using the edge of the right thumb. Same thing on the other side. Now we're going to massage in between the fingers along the back of the hand. So you notice that four fingers, each one are individualized. So you take your thumb, you use the edge and just run between the bones. Okay, now do the same thing on the other side. You feel some pain, some numbness maybe, right? So that's a good thing. All right, so now we're going to massage the back of the, um, the wrist. And right now we're going to be focusing on the yang side. The side is facing the sun. And so the Chinese has a very simple way of describing the health benefit of both the yang and the yin, which is away from the sun. On the yang, they basically says clear the qi, clear the channel so the qi run through. The qi is translated into life energy. So the energy runs through our body, and that's how you reduce inflammation. And then the other one on the inside, whenever you massage, they say that's cultivated the qi. So in the Western language, it's basically restoring the sensitivity to the natural steroid, which is cortisol. So again, we're using the body to heal itself by releasing the cortisol, the steroid, to reduce inflammation, right? Chronic inflammation. But at the same time, we maintain that harmony by removing ourselves from the flight and returning to the rest and digest in order to restore the sensitivity. So a lot of the problem that we have now as modern people is a problem of cortisol resistance. We have so much cortisol in the body that our body inflamed because we lost the sensitivity to it. The irony is that the only way that reduce inflammation is to give you more steroid. All right, so we're going to be doing some acupressure on the yang side. The side is facing the sun. So first, you bend your elbow, not your elbow, your wrist, and you just use two fingers and you feel the back of that, and you feel two dimples. The one belongs to what's called the triple warmer. The other one belongs to what is called the large intestine. So you take your right thumb, and after you find these two dimples, just kind of do a acupressure, right? You feel numbness. And then if you bend your elbow and you use your thumb as the measuring tool, and you would find another one right here. Okay, another one right here. Now, this one is actually very famous for longevity. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing on the thumb. The thumb runs along the wrist. You can actually feel another dimple right here. And then the little fingers run along on the wrist, and you feel another one right here. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. And then about right here. And then on the wrist. And then on the small fingers. Okay? Okay. So we're done with all four fingers. Now we're going to work on the thumb. The thumb requires some individual attention. So we're going to massage the thumb. We use the thumb more than we use any other digit. In fact, it was the discovery of the use of the thumb that started our evolution, right? Because we know how to hold on to something. Try to hold on to something with only four fingers. Very tough, very difficult. So we're going to massage the thumb. Then we're going to massage the other side, right? And right on top of the bone, on top of the bone. Now we're going to massage this part of the thumb, this meaty part of the thumb. This one actually is very, very famous energy point. It's part of the lung meridian, but it's actually very important for the health of your heart. So we're going to use our thumb and an index finger as a pincher and just kind of pinch that and then pinch that. Then we use the knuckle and just kind of put some pressure on that and put some pressure on that. All right, so this is a good one. Another good one is in the middle of the palm. That's part of the pericardium. And so it's very easy to find. It's actually precisely between the index finger and the thumb. Okay. And if you want, you can use your middle finger to measure, but it's easy to find. So just use your knuckle, right? Do it on the other side. Now, this energy point is the only one in the body, about 350 energy points that actually gives out energy, thereby calling this the healing hand. So we're going to be doing some self-healing. So let's put that the center of the palm together and generate some heat. Then we're going to take the right hand, put that on top of the left hand, squeeze the fingers, and then massage the back of the hand, the fingers, as well as the center of the palm. Now we're going to do the other side. You notice that we spend a lot of time with the fingers, right? Because as we age, the fingers hurts, right? I'm pretty fortunate. So the only one that I have some problem is thumb. You notice that there's like a bone that comes out, and that happens as you age. But fortunately, my other fingers are pretty straight, right? Didn't used to be that like that. Uh, so as soon as when I start practicing, then it is straightened out. Okay. All right. So now we're gonna take the fingers and just pull on it one joint at a time. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Just pull on the fingers. You say, oh, that hurts. Well, don't pull so hard. Or don't pull at all. All right. Okay. So now we're going to be doing two sets of finger exercise. The first one is a famous Qigong exercise to reduce your chance of having a stroke. Or if you had a stroke, it's also a good part. It should be a part of your physical therapy. And the idea of this exercise is the idea that in the presence of the sun dominates the yang energy. In the absence of the sun, then the energy can be divided into the five elements. This is probably thousands of years, 6,000 a year when the Chinese astrologers start to observe the planets. They first noticed Jupiter. Then they realized that it takes 12 years for Jupiter to return to its original position. So they invented the zodiac. Then they decided that they could actually see four other planets by the eye. And so they divide the universe into five elements. And so there's the water, there's the vegetation, there's the fire, there's the soil, and then there is finally the mineral. And so everything is in five. The color, we think of them in five colors. The seasons is in five. There's actually two summers. And then the music, I remember Martha mentioned that they associate sound with their practice. The taste, right? The sour, the bitterness, and everything they divide into five. And so they think of the five fingers as representing the five elements. And also they think of the internal organs as the five elements. So by doing this exercise, they actually create the harmony in the entire body. So that's the belief. Now, so what you do is you raise your hand, but before you do that, let's come back to our posture. It's very important to focus on our posture because after all, the spine, right? So we talk about the 12 meridians, six of them originated from front fingers and run through the body, and then another six that run from the toes and also through the body. But then there's two additional primary channels. There's actually eight, but two of them are the most talked about. One runs along the spine, and the spine is where all the yang energy comes together. So it's very important that you stretch the spine as hard as you can, starting at the bottom of your spine, and you stretch along the spine towards the top of the head. And then you raise your shoulder. You lift up your shoulder as hard as you can, as if you're bringing your entire body and your shoulder to your ears. Then you lean back. As you lean back, you open the shoulder. You open as hard as you can, as if you're squeezing a tennis ball. And then you relax the shoulder, you relax the spine. Okay? So that's how you sit, right? Sometimes people say, "Oh, I have a backache." Well, the backache is the Chinese believe that is the kidney deficiency, right? You say, "Oh, those is the kidney have to do with the back." Well, it's the energy, right? It's the water energy, and in fact, they think that the kidney, as the essence of the kidney energy, is the bone marrow. So the bone marrow actually runs through your spine, right? And then they think of the brain as the sea of the marrow, right? It's all connected in terms of energy. So as you age, it's very important to keep on stretching your spine, just like, oh, tomorrow, Sunday, I'm going to get two dogs again. They are coming back to us. The parents are taking a 6 week vacation. So they're stretching all the time. They're stretching all the time, right? This is what the animal does. They stretch your spine and they stretch your spine. Actually, the Western scientists believe that by stretching the spine, you're actually creating some static electricity because the bones are piezoelectric. And the generation of the electricity actually reverse the oxidation on the bone. So always stretch your spine. Always lift up your shoulder. Why? Because as we move away from the diaphragm, we're using more and more the muscles on the upper part of the body. And if you don't stretch like that, right? When you stretch like that, it reduces the stress accumulated in your upper body, and then you relax. Right? And then when you relax, you feel a lightness in your body because what you're doing is you're putting the weight on the bone on the spine and not using the back muscle. So later on when we sit and meditate, this is an important thing to do. Stretch, open, lean back, and then relax. All right. Okay. So now that we do that, we're going to do some Qigong exercise with the fingers. So raise your hand and then take your thumb and your index fingers, put them together, and then you just squeeze as hard as you can. Okay, imagine if you had a stroke, this would be a difficult exercise. So this is part of your physical therapy. And likewise, you do this to prevent a stroke. Now take the thumb and the middle finger and you squeeze as hard as you can. Now put it on the ring finger, squeeze as hard as you can, and then finally the small finger and squeeze as hard as you can. Now, you take your thumb, you put that in the middle of the index finger and you squeeze. Put it in the middle of the middle finger and you squeeze. Put it in the middle of the ring finger and put it in the middle of the small finger. It is just that simple. Very popular in Taiwan. Was either invented or discovered, however you want to look at it, by a retired professor who actually had a stroke right afterwards. Happens a lot. It really happens a lot. I taught 9 years at the university. And this is what we say: don't retire. You retire, you die. Okay. All right. So now the next finger exercise have more to do with the hand and the brain. We're focusing more on the neurological health, mainly by understanding the separation of a left and a right brain. Right. So I talk about how my father suffered from dementia. As I look back, it wasn't the loss of memory. It wasn't loss of your cognitive skill. It was a loss of balance. It was a loss of balance. It was a change in the personality, all because the left brain and the right brain cannot function separately. So here's what we do. Very simple. We're again, the fingers is the beginning of evolution. So it makes sense that the fingers tied to the neurological health. Okay, just like the dog is the smell. So again, we stretch the spine, lift up a shoulder, lean back, open a shoulder, and then relax. Now we take our right hand, close your eye, meaning that we're using our left brain. We're gonna bring in the fingers one at a time. First the thumb, then two fingers, then the index fingers, then the little fingers. Now we're going to bring down a right hand, bring up a left hand using the right brain this time. Thumb, little two fingers, index, little fingers. We're going to bring up two hands. We're going to squeeze as hard as we can, leaving the right hand behind. We're going to open the fingers in the reverse order. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Left hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Bring it up together and then stretch as hard as you can. Now, it's important that you said to yourself, that was the first one. Let me do the second time. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Left hand, thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. And then squeeze as hard as you can. Close your eye. Use your brain, okay? And then open it up, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb, and then stretch as hard as you can. And then now say to yourself, I'm going to do one more time. One more time. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. And then squeeze as hard as you can, leaving behind the right hand. One last time. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Left hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. And then stretch as hard as you can. All right. Now we're going to put the hands together, sit up straight, push the palms together as hard as you can, and then bring up the elbow. Now, keeping the center of the palm together, you're going to lower your fingers, putting a lot of stress on your wrists. And then we're going to come back and start tapping. So we're going to tap the fingertip. Remember now, you are not just beating your body into submission. Okay, that's not what you're doing, right? You're actually energizing the body. So think of your body as an instrument. And when you play instrument, you don't play the instrument, you play the music. How do you know that you're playing the music? You listen with your ear, you feel it, right? You can actually feel the instrument. So this is what we do. So we sit up straight, we focus on the fingertips, and we're going to feel the vibration as you tap. We're going to be tapping 30 times. Get ready? Go. Okay, now we're going to cross the fingers, tapping in between the fingers 30 times. Okay, now a lot of the exercise towards the end, we're going to be tapping at the bottom of feet. If we have time, we're going to be tapping our back. And we always say mixing the water and the fire, mixing the water and the fire. And the reason, think about it, when you grow vegetable, what do you need? You need water. You don't have any water, you can't grow anything. You're looking for life in the outer space. You look for water, right? At least with understanding of our life form, you need water. And then what do you need? You need the sun. And so it's the sun and the water working together for the soil, right? And the soil, within the soil, there's a mineral. Think about this. The fire element is a heart. The water element is a kidney. And so what we're doing, this exercise is in a way creating a harmony between heaven and earth, between the fire element and the water element, in order to benefit what is in between the soil and the mineral and the vegetation. Right. So as you do this exercise, I keep asking you, focus, 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 anchor, anchor, anchor. Right. Don't let your mind drift away, and just whatever it is that you do, feel the body. And the thing that you will notice when you do that is that you start to have saliva. Well, from the Western perspective, it's because you're turning on your saliva gland. How do you turn on? Why do you? How? What prevent you from turning on your saliva gland? Because when you were in fight or flight, the first thing it does is turn off your saliva gland. So, in order to know that you're back into the living, the rest and digest, feel the inside your mouth. So, the Chinese way of thinking about it is the rise of the water element, the water energy. Same thing. On the other hand, as you exercise, even though you're working on your finger, you feel warm in your body because you're now allowing the fire element to descend. So it's the mixing and the water and fire. So two things. Feel the warmth in your body, feel the wetness inside your mouth. Then you know that you're doing it right. Okay? Just look at me. I'm having a hard time keeping up. And it's the prerequisites for health. It's the prerequisites of self-healing, because the saliva is what turns on your digestion, what turns on your reproduction, what turns on your immunity, right? So it's that important. All right. So now we're going to continue to tap. We're going to tap the inside of a palm. So the way to understand our energy line is that there's a yin away from the sun, there's a yang, and the inside in has three. In the middle is what we call the pericardium, what's outside of the heart. And then the little finger, we call it heart, but it also can mean the mind. It's actually kind of one word mean two things. And then the thumb is the lung. Now, in this case, the lung is not just to it's not just to breathe and get oxygen. It's actually the distribution channel for the mineral energy, right? So it's actually what it's like the water. When you open the window in the morning, you see fog. Well, all night long, the fog is moisturizing the earth. Same thing. All right, so we're gonna tap here, and you notice that these two are kind of a parallel. This one is the meaty part. We were doing a lot of work on that, and then this one is also a meaty part, right? So we take our hand, we sit up straight, we put that in together, we form a V, and we're gonna tap it. Now, remember, now we're playing instruments, so focus, feel the vibration. All right, get ready, go. Okay, now I'm going to turn it around again using just the meaty part, forming a V pointing down, and we're going to tap that 30 times. Okay, now that's the yin side. Yin is away from the sun. Now we're going to work on the yang side that's facing the sun. And the yang side of the heart or the mind is the small intestine. The Chinese actually tie the intestinal health to your neurological health, right? And the Western scientists knows that. They call your intestine, the small intestine, the second brain. And they actually have done some work now, publishing a very famous medical in the medical article in the medical journal that ties Parkinson's disease with digestive health. Right? I believe in that, and that's why I try to stay away from preservatives, stay away from highly processed food. I eat only natural food and eat lots of fermented food, right? Things like sourdough bread, things like miso, things like natto. Natto is fermented soybeans. All kinds of. There's just every culture has its own fermentation food, right? I drink wine that's fermented. I don't drink alcohol. I don't drink distilled alcohol. Wine is good, and beer is good, except that I don't like to drink cold stuff that much. And so whenever I have a chance, I'll take a glass of Guinness, but I drink it in room temperature. Everything that is fermented is good for your probiotic. And actually, what you want is not probiotic. What you want is prebiotic. You don't want to go and get some probiotic as if you're swallowing germs. That doesn't make any sense, right? Because those are like foreign species. You don't know what kind of germs you have. Everybody's different. Why would you take some foreign agent and put it in your body? What you really want to do is create the environment so that your native probiotic will grow, right? That's why it's important to have fermentation, fermented food, right? Okay, so just rule number one, when you walk into Costco, what's on the left of you, don't buy those. Whatever it is that have that, don't buy it. It's all supplements, probiotic, you name it, it's right there, right? I see a lot of what do you call that to help you sleep? I wrote it down somewhere. Melatonin. You can buy that by the gallon full of melatonin. You don't need melatonin. You have enough melatonin in your body. It's just that you have to get rid of the cortisol. The cortisol is the melatonin. They're like this. Okay. So just meditate, go to sleep, get rid of the cortisol, then melatonin will come out. Right. All right. So we continue, and we're going to continue to work on this energy point. It's actually quite famous. As we age, this one actually increase the energy flow in your spine. Right. Now, the way to find that is you take your left hand, you fold it, you see this line? It's just right on the edge. So now you put it flat this time. You fold in your fist, very soft fist, and you just tap that 30 times. Get ready? Go. Okay, now we're going to go the other side. So this is a small intestine, so we're going to go into the other side, which is the large intestine. So again, it's interesting. The large intestine is associated with the lung. You say, well, wait a minute, the lung is here, the large intestine. What does that do? Again, the lung is not just to breathe. The lung is to distribute the mineral using the blood flow in your heart, right? The heart is just a pump, and as what comes in, what goes out, right? So the large intestines is important for detoxification. So it makes sense that they're associated. Now we're going to take our index fingers and the thumb. We're going to stretch it. You notice that there's a dimple. That's a valley, right? So you take this one, you put it on top, tap that 30 times. Okay, the other side. Okay, now we're going to do some acupressure, right? And I choose a few points that are important as we age. One of the things that happens as we age is that we have high blood pressure. High blood pressure is a very serious symptom, right? The worst thing to hyperpressure is to take high pressure medicine. I'm not asking you not to take it. I'm just saying that when you take the high pressure medicine, you reduce the symptom, but you haven't solved the problem. Most likely, your high blood pressure comes from your anxiety. It's just too much stress hormone in the body. And so there are two energy points that are known to reduce your high blood pressure, but keep in mind that it's only the symptom, right? So this one is called the emerging valley. I call it the emerging valley. Not only does it help with high blood pressure, it also helps with lots of things, including reducing pain in your body temporarily. So you take your your fingers again, you see this ridge. You take the thumb, you see this line. You put the line on top of the ridge and you press like this. Now you press in. You might have to lean to the index finger slightly to feel the numbness or the tenderness. Okay. Now next time when you have cramp, try that. Okay. All right, and that will reduce your high blood pressure temporarily. And then you go to this corner right here. You fold your elbow and just press down on that. Okay, that's another one. Very famous for that. And then you come back, and these three have different purpose. There's a triangle right here, one below here, and just put some acupressure. Now, this one is famous for helping you sleep, improving the quality of sleep, because it has to do with the mind and the heart together. And then this one, come down here, has to do with your lung. If you cough a lot, and then if you measure three fingers in the middle right here, that's part of the pericardium. If you have irregular heartbeat, they recommend doing some acupressure. So you put your thumb in the inside, your four fingers on the outside. Okay. And then same thing on this one. First, we're going to do this one. Okay. I like this. Right. I get muscle cramp. Okay. And over here. So I noticed that I get muscle cramp mainly um, the precursor for my muscle cramp is either when I go out to eat and I have to, for some reason, some soy sauce is not good for me. The soy sauce that I get in the United States, they are all artificially fermented. They're not naturally fermented. I don't like it. And when I have too much of it, like when I go out for sushi or whatever, I come back and I get dehydration and I get muscle cramp. The other one is when you drink alcohol, it also get dehydration. And so I'm prepared for that. I drink some water with a little bit of salt, a little bit of sea salt, or and that would help. And you should try that. Right now, the other thing I find is that sometimes after dinner, whatever, I have a glass of wine and I get dehydrated, or I forgot I don't drink enough water. I'm driving, and all of a sudden I can feel a little bit of muscle cramp, and I can't get any water. I mean, I have water, but I can't get any salt. But I always have candies. And what I find is that body is a very strange organism. When you take candy, it actually creates salt in your body. It can actually, when you take some candy, you can actually help with your cramp. That's why you can buy salt candy, right? Okay, so these are the things you want to do. You want to do that here. You want to do that here, and then you want to do that here, right? So just for your reference, you can study that. Ask Google, ask AI now, right? Okay, so we kind of get ready for my favorite part, which is scraping, all right? Now, some of you are prepared, so you have your own favorite scraping tool. You can just go get a ruler like this. This one is part of the family jewel. It was a part of a dowry of my mother-in-law, so it's probably 100-year-old, right? You can get a scraping tool like this from Amazon or whatever. If you don't have anything, a couple of weeks ago, a student recommended taking a jar and use the cap. Or if you're oftentimes you have dishes, small dish. The Chinese always have that. They put soy sauce or condiment inside. That would work too. All right. Okay. Whatever it is that you want to scrape, or you use a knuckle. This is what I carry when I fly. I don't carry this. You can't get this on the plane. Okay. Use a knuckle. That works just as well. So here's what we do. We're going to do this very systematically. And after that, then I'm going to recommend something that you do that are very simple. Okay. Now we're going to identify the elbow and the wrist, and it has to go from the elbow to the wrist. Okay. The other thing is that there's some refinement. Some people believe that you go with the energy. So what's inside is yin energy, and it comes into the body. What's outside is yang energy. It goes out of the body. So some people recommend going only one direction, right? That's a refinement. So here I just gonna, because I want to take my anxiety out. So I'm just gonna scrape in the middle, which is pericardium, starting at the elbow. Just move along using the edge of my ruler or my scraping tool, or as Amma says, the spine of the comb, not the teeth of the comb, right? The back of the comb. That works. Okay, now that's the pericardium. So we're going to move up, and on top is the bone, right? So the inside the bone, again, from the elbow, slowly to the wrist and back. And then on top of the bone. And then on the outside of the bone is the large intestines, again, from the elbow to the wrist. And then in the middle is something that has no Western equivalent. It's called the triple warmer. In the past, I explained what that is, and to the wrist. And now I like to scrape the back of my hand because my finger hurts. Okay? Someone asked me, so Danny, how old are you? I said, I'm 69. He said, wow, you're 69? You don't look like it. I said, wait till I'm 79. I bet you I don't change. Okay? And then, so when you're 69, it makes sense that your finger hurts. I accept that. There's no problem. Okay? So back of the hand again, back of the arm again. And this time, and then we're going to go along the small fingers. Yeah. Okay? And then just slowly rotate your hands as you come back. You see a little bit of redness, which is okay. Right? Don't scrape to hurt, okay? Don't hurt yourself. But you feel some pain, but it's very pleasant, and then now finally we're going to scrape along the small fingers. This one will help you sleep. Also would secure your mind. So allow your mind to focus one thing at a time, okay? Okay, all right, done with this hand. Now go on to this hand. I'm just using a ruler, okay? But I'm gonna suggest use the back of a comb, the spine of the comb. And you can get tools like this, scraping tools. Can someone spell guasa for me? And you can just look it up on Amazon and get yourself a scraping tool. And the bone. Thank you. and then the middle of the arm, the triple warmer, and then the back of the hand, the back of the hand, and then along the little finger. Now keep in mind that you can scrape your entire body, not just the hand. I just do the hand here, okay? And then, but I find that to be this important. Okay, now the little fingers, okay, all right. So um, I actually do this at least one more time during the day, and then one more time before I go to sleep. Relieve all the pain in the body, and then I can sleep well. If I forget, sometimes I go to sleep, and then in the middle of the night I wake up not knowing why. Then I feel my hand is very warm, so I know that my carpal tunnel is coming back. So then I just take my hand out. I have another one in next to my bed, and just scrape it, and then go back to sleep. It's a very good thing. Now, if you don't do this, then you start to feel pain, and then you start to say, "Oh, I'll just take a Advil. That will go away." Yeah, the symptom will go away. Inflammation does not. Okay. All right. So now we're going to do this next exercise, which is a energetic exercise. So I told you how yeah, use your knuckle. That works, right? Since you always have it, so you don't have to find it. You don't have to find the tool. And like I said, I do this. Right? When I can't find the tools, I just do this. It really works. It really works. Okay, so now the next one is when I taught engineering, I call it the Newton's second law: action equal to reaction. The idea is that you 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 do an energetic exercise, you're releasing the energy, and that is what we call yang energy. And then there's a reaction, and that's the yin energy. So this is a very good way of creating that energy flow. And this is a very good exercise if you have carpal tunnel. What's carpal tunnel? Carpal tunnel is inflammation, right? What do they do when you have carpal tunnel? They inject steroid. Wait a minute, I already have too much steroid. Okay. All right. So what you do is you stretch your spine, always stretch your spine, always lift up your shoulder. That's one. Step two is that you lean back. As you lean back, you open your shoulder. Step three is that you relax your shoulder and you relax your upper torso. And you might want to do one more thing, which is lean back the forehead so you're putting the weight of the head on top of the shoulder, and then you tuck in your chin so that the top of the head is where all the yang energy come together, is actually on top of your spine. Now you take two hands, you point it to the front, the camera, you lock your elbow, you take the four fingers, you bring it in, then you take your thumb, you hold down the four fingers, you wind up the four fingers as if they're springs, but you hold it with the thumb. You get ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then you come back, you open your shoulder, you relax your shoulder. If you can, rotate the hip forward and lean back up the torso. You put some pressure in the back where the kidneys are. Then you take your hand, you form what is called the lotus hand, taking the thumb and the middle finger together, and then stretching the other three. You put your lotus hand in front of your shoulder, this energy point called gate to the cloud, which is an important one for the lung meridian. You open that some more, and then back of the hand facing the camera. Get ready? 1, back of the hand facing camera, meaning that you have to twist your arms slightly. Come back, lotus hand, sit up straight. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? All right. So, wow, it's been 45 minutes. We finally get to the shoulder. All right. So we keep moving up. And now we're to the neck. We're going to do some massage of the neck. So again, sit up straight, open your shoulder, lean back, relax. Now we're going to take our thumb and we put that on either side of the neck. It's very easy to find. There is this cavity right below the skull. First, we're going to massage that. This one is called the palm of wind. It's part of the gallbladder energy line. Just massage that. Now we're going to take the thumb. We're going to push in using not the fingernail. Okay, remember now, just the tip of the finger. Push in. We're going to lean back and hold the pressure as if you're squeezing a rubber hose. And then relax. Now we'll take the right hand, put 4 fingers on top of the left energy point, push down with the 4 fingers, lean back. We're going to grab the left side of the ear, we're going to pull it to the right, as if you're opening a channel. Now we're going to do the same thing on the other side, push down with the 4 fingers, lean back slightly, grab the right side of the ear and pull it to the left. Now we're going to lift up our left ear. We're going to use the right fingers and we're going to massage right below the ear. Now, right below the ear is where the vagus nerve starts. You can actually buy toys that would strap on your head to massage the back of the ear. Now we're going to massage along. This is how the vagus nerve runs. Right? Now it's important that you ask yourself, entice yourself to relax as you do that. Now do the same thing on the other side. First massage, then just all the way up. Now we're going to introduce another energy point, which is the counterpart of that. You take the tip of the ear, you fold it down, then right on top of the ear, on the corner, is the energy point, and this is part of the triple warmer. It's actually a very important energy point if you have a headache, or it's also good for your eyesight, and it's also good if you're worried about your hair thinning up, losing hair as you age. So now you bring it down, massage down, massage down, massage down. Same thing on the other side, fold down the ear and just massage right on top. This one is actually called the stream at the corner, right? Corner stream. And then just kind of bring it down, make this massage. Now we're going to come back and we're going to massage the palm of wind, and then we're going to move towards the middle. So you see the straight line going from here to here in the middle. And we're going to massage on top of the bone. You feel some stress there. So this one actually helps you sleep. Okay. Now we're going to massage the neck by grabbing onto these 2 energy points and just kind of squeeze the neck. And then we're going to move in the middle of the neck and squeeze towards the energy points. And then we're going to go further down and squeeze these 2 energy points. Now we're going to use the right thumb, this meaty part of the right thumb, and massage your neck. And then we're going to do the same thing, massage your neck. Okay. Now, one of the things that I discovered, and I know how to manage my stress, so I don't really have a lot of stress accumulated in my body, except when I went to my dentist. And afterwards, I feel my neck being very stiff. And what I find is that, so let's identify the energy point. So right here is one, and in the middle is one. So I put my thumb on one side and my fingers on the other, and I twist the neck. And then I do the same thing here. I twist my neck like that. And that seems to help. Then I massage. Okay? And then massage along all the way to here. And then back. Okay? Now this whole area is actually very important from the Chinese medicine standpoint. You want to keep this part warm. And I don't think I have it here. The Western clothes doesn't have it. The old traditional Chinese clothing, they always double pack this. There's also an additional piece of cloth right here. And if you ever go to Chinatown and you buy an old pajama, old style pajama, you will see a pad in the back to keep you warm. They really believe in that. Okay, so now we're going to work on the neck, but the 2 sides of the neck. And so we're going to again lift up our left ear, and we're going to use this index finger, the edge of the index finger, as a scraping tool. Now it turns out that you can also scrape like this, right? I don't recommend it because you don't want to overdo it. So I rather use my hand now and just kind of scrape along, and then also scrape right below the cheek. Oh, so you know where those are. Those are your limbic system, right? Okay. And then I massage the top of the shoulder. You see this cavity? Okay. Then in the back, there's another cavity. On the side, there's another cavity. And just kind of massage all around the shoulder. Okay. Same thing under here. Lift up your right ear. Take your index finger. Use it as a very gentle scraping tool. Right? Scrape along here. And then scrape right below your neck. Right here. Okay. And then on top of the shoulder, back of the shoulder, the side of the shoulder, and then the entire shoulder. All right. Okay. Now to the front of the face, and do some facial massage. And but before we do that, we're going to come back to the center of a palm, a heating hand. We're going to generate some heat. And then we're going to form an empty hand, put that in front of eye, sit up straight. Okay, now open your eye, and if you see light, then move your fingers. So you try to see as much darkness as possible. Okay, and people recommend breastfeeding child, right? We know that because the breast milk is very nutritious. There's nothing equal. We all understand that. But it turns out that when you actually breastfeed the baby, there's a exchange of enzyme. The baby is actually telling the mother what he or she needs, and the mother will adjust to that. Okay, so there's that connection between the mother and the child. There's a connection between your center of your palm and your eye, and your eye actually tells your body what you need in terms of energy. It's very interesting. Okay, so now very important that you focus. Then you put that in front of your eye. You don't feel much first time. Now you come back, you focus. Then you put that in front of your eye. You feel a little warm now. Yeah. And then finally, put that on the eye. Okay. Now we're going to massage the forehead, massage the face, massage the side of the face, and then put that energy point on top of the temple, massage the temple. We're going to come back and massage between the eyebrow. And then we're going to massage all the way to the top. Then we're going to massage on top of the eyebrow. You feel the stretch point, huh? All the stretch point. And then we're going to massage the tip of the eyebrow. And then we're going to do some acupressure. We sit up straight. We use the fingertip and push into your skull. We use a little bit of force on the neck to wipe that pressure. Then we're going to scrape the eyebrow. There's 3 energy points along the eyebrow. Also allow the tubes for the oil to your eye. So if you have problem with dry eye, most likely is because the oil tubes was stuck. Okay, so you scrape that. And then my wife yesterday asked me, so well, if what energy point should I do if to reduce my wrinkle? I said, well, right here. Take your thumb, corner of the eye. Okay, same thing. Now the corner of the eye has an energy point called the bright eye. So you take your index finger, you put that in your corner eye. So it's actually just touching the corner of the eye, but pressing on your bridge of your nose. Okay. 2 sign. Now we're going to sit up straight, close your eyes. We're going to do some eye yoga. As you age, right, you got what's called lazy eye. So we're going to turn our eyeballs up, looking as far up as we can. We're going to turn our eyeballs to the right, as if you're looking really far. Then we're going to turn it down, looking at the seat, at the floor. Then we're going to turn it to the left. Now come back to the top, clockwise. Okay, up, right, down, left. Up, right, down, left. Up, right, down, left. Back to up, counterclockwise. Left, down, right, up. Left, down, right, up. Left, down, right, up. You ready? Open your eyes. Very bright. Now take 2 fingers, corner of the eye, all the way to the corner of the mouth. relax. Now we're going to take two fingers and put that below the eye. Two fingers outside the nose. Four fingers in the neck. Okay. Now we're going to massage the ear. The ear is very magical. It contains all the energy points in your body. Whatever there is in the rest of the body, one exists in the ear. The ear has the shape of the fetus, so the Chinese believe that it contains all the energy points when you're inside the mother's womb. So we're going to divide it into three parts, just like we divide the internals into three. We're going to first work on the upper part by putting the thumb on top, four fingers in the back, squeeze. Then I'm going to put that in the middle, four fingers in the back. Then I'm going to take the index finger, put it below, thumbs in the back. Now I'm going to massage the tip, and then I'm going to yank a little bit, massage the edge, massage the ear loop, yank. Leave the thumb behind the ear loop, put the fingers outside of the ear canal and massage. Now we're going to massage the back of the ear, which helps to reduce high blood pressure. Just really thorough along the back of the ear where the folds are. Then we're going to take two fingers. We start at the top of the ear. Remember this energy point? And then we're going to go down. One finger's on the ear, one finger's on the skull, and then we go all the way down to here. Okay? Same thing on the other side. First, we're going to massage the fold area. Then we're going to take two fingers, massage the top of the ear, and then along the ear, one finger's on the ear, one finger's on the skull, all the way to the bottom of the ear. All right? Now we're going to do one more thing before we leave. We take our hand, we put that behind the ear. This is called drumming in the ear. And we're going to fold the ear, and then we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Okay? All right. So now we get to the top of the head. Top of the head. Top of the head is called all the energy come together. This is very important if you want to prevent dementia. Also, if you happen to have someone who has dementia, like my father did, losing memory, this is the best exercise you can do. Right? There are two exercises you can do to help someone who has deterioration of the brain. One is on top of the head, and one is actually the calf. The calf right here is what we call the second heart. So when someone has a deterioration of the brain, it's because there's not enough qi going to the top of the head. Dementia is actually inflammation of the brain, and so this one helps. Top of the head helps. Okay, those are the two that helps. This is from experience. Okay, so now we're going to sit up straight, stretch our spine, open our shoulder, lean back, relax. We're going to lean back the forehead, put the ears on top of the shoulder, tuck in the chin. Then we're going to take 10 fingers. We'll be playing the instrument, right? On top, right? Not like this, on top. Okay, get ready, go. Okay, all right. So now we're going to do some massage first. And we're going to first start with the belly button. So we believe that there are some cavities that would help with longevity behind the ear, around the eyes, and then also the belly button, and then the armpit, and then also the elbow. Those are the 5 on the upper body. There's 4 on the lower part body. So we're going to massage the belly button, and then we're going to increase the diameter to include 4 energy points, and then as well as the large intestines, and finally in between the nipple right here. Okay, get ready. Just very gently massaging the belly button. Increase the diameter, so you're taking massaging the 4 energy points, and then increase it some more, so you're massaging the large intestines, helping you with your and then finally massage in between the nipple. Okay, there's a cavity right here. Okay, all right. So now we're going to massage the armpit. We use the thumb, this one, and just massage the armpit right here. Then we're going to massage the other side. Then we're going to massage the elbow. Keep in mind that there's 3 energy lines, so therefore there's 3 energy points on top, in the middle, and on the bottom. Same thing on top, on the bottom. Okay, now we're going to do some work now on the lower part of the body, but because we don't have a lot of time left, I'm going to just pick some important point. So if I had to pick some important energy point, it would be the stomach and the splint. Okay, the splint is not just the organ, because you can actually remove the splint, right? You can just make it up with medicine. But the Chinese actually believe the splint and the stomach are the soil element, right? So it's actually not only important for your digestion, it's also important for your circulation. It's like the soil. Soil does 2 things. It does your transport and transformation. Transformation is digestion. Transport is to make sure that the water doesn't get stuck in the soil. There's enough flow. So there's an energy point here, and right at the knee, you measure 3 fingers. It's right here. You push in it. It's a little bit sore. Okay, so you take this energy point. Okay, get ready? Go. Okay, so if I have to pick another one, I'll pick this one. This is the stomach. So you go to the knee, you measure 4 fingers, you find the bone right next to the bone. So this is important for your digestion. Okay, ready? Go. Okay, okay, now we're gonna work on the toes. The toes is important. First, we're gonna work in between the big toe and the second toe. You use the edge of your thumb and use this massage. That's the liver energy. Okay, and then you do some acupressure before the 2 pieces of bone join together. Then you're gonna flip it over, bend your toes, so you see the tendon, scrape the tendon. That's called a longevity tendon. Then you're gonna massage your toes, and you're going to put your fingers in between. Okay, and then finally we get to a longevity cavity, which is what we call the gushing spring. This is the beginning of the kidney energy. So you take your toes, you bend it backward, you take your hand, you form empty hand, you put that on top. This is what we call mixing the water and fire. This is fire, this is water. Get ready? Go. Continue. Okay, so this is a technique invented by a very famous Chinese medicine doctor in the Tang Dynasty. It was actually written down in the journal, and when he was 120. Okay, all right. So scrape the liver, do some acupressure, feel the soreness right here. Turn it upside down, scrape the tendon, massage the toes, in between the toes, and then do some acupressure here. I don't know if I did that already. And then maybe massage using the thumb. Fold the fingers, the toes back, forming empty hand. Put that together. Get ready. Go. Continue. Okay. Now we got 3 more cavities that we need to work on. Run this right here and say, well, that's not a cavity. Well, it is if you sit up, you stand up straight, right? If you stand up straight, it's a cavity. This is where the kidneys are. So use your fist and just kind of make a circular motion. Okay. All right. The other one is right behind the knee. And then put the 4 fingers in the back, thumbs on the side. Get ready. Go. Continue. Okay, and then finally, you notice that these cavities are where the lymph nodes are, right? Especially right here, right? Now, this is from a Chinese medicine's perspective. They don't think about lymph nodes as much as they think about this being the bottleneck for all the yin energy, the kidney, your liver, and your spleen. But it's also the place closest to your reproduction system. So you might think, oh, well, like me, I'm 69 years old. I probably don't want to worry about that too much anymore. Not true. Not true. A very famous Chinese doctor in Taiwan, she actually said, well, this is the source of life. It's a source of life whether you are young or old, right? So this is important. Now you take your fist, you put that here, you tap that 30 times. Okay, so we have enough time to do our YJJ as well as meditation. Both are important, okay? All right, so now YJJ comes in 14 forms. It actually covers all 12 meridians plus the 2 primary channel. So we're going to first identify the very bottom of a feet, what's called a gushing spring. We're going to move around the bottom of the feet as we're making perfect contact with the ground, allowing the energy to come through our body through the spring, as if there's spring gushing in. Then we're going to rotate the toes inward, forming what's called a goat stand. And we're going to loosen up the knee so we activate the calf. Remember now, the calf is your second heart, right? Now, this is exercise brought to us by an Indian yogi named Buddhidharma. Then we're going to focus on the shoulder, which is called the shoulder, the well on the shoulder, as if we line up with the opening of the well with the source of spring. We do that by opening our shoulder and then relaxing our shoulder. Now we're going to focus on top of the head, lean back, tuck in the chin. So we're putting the 100 meat where all the yang energy come together. We're going to put that on top of our central nerve system facing the heaven. Now we're going to focus on the center of a palm. We're going to point that down, 90-degree on the wrist, bring it in slightly. So we're on either side of the center line. Now we're going to focus on the center of the palm. And when I say go, you make sure that your mind is at the center of the palm and you use the force, the energy that is actually coming from the mind, not your hand. You ready? Go. Now, that was fight or flight. Now it's important that we maintain that harmony by bringing our body and our mind to rest and digest. We do that by focusing entirely on the breath. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. One breath. Let's do another one. I know I'm breathing in. No other thoughts. No other thoughts. You can only do one thing at a time. Okay. Now, second time. Get ready. Go. Come back to the breath. Close your mouth. After 2 breaths, The third time. Get ready? Go. Back to the breath. Entirely relax the entire body. And before you leave, check the inside your mouth. Make sure it's nice and wet. The next one is called pointing. Pointing means that you focus on your thumb. You take your thumb, you point to your hip. You raise your hand, forming a half circle. You take your fingers, you roll it up. Imagine hanging 2 buckets of water on your thumb and you lift it up with your thumb. Lift it up as hard as you can. And then relax the fingers without lowering them. Back to the breath. Second time. Back to the breath. One last time. Back to the breath. Lower your hand. Relax. After 2 breaths, check the inside your mouth. Okay. Then you go what's called the beginner's mind. Mind also means center. So you focus on the center of your palm. You put your thumb across. You roll up your fingers and you squeeze your fist as hard as you can. Then you relax the fingers without lowering them. Back to the breath. Second time. And then back to the breath. You notice I'm swallowing, right? It means that I'm really focused. Focus and relax at the same time. It's hard to do. And then one last time, squeeze as hard as you can, and then lower your hand, completely relax. After 2 breaths, check the inside your mouth. Now put the fists together, put that in front of your belly button. Take a deep breath as you raise your fist, stretch your upper torso, and then relax. Now you put your elbows together, you focus on your back, and you stretch your back, and then relax. Second time, and then relax. One last time, and then relax. Now you raise your fist, you open your shoulder, you open your fingers, you roll your fist, 1 joint, 2 joint, lock it with the thumb, and you squeeze as if you're squeezing or blood back into the heart. And then you open your hands, relax, let the blood come back to the tip of the fingers. So this one is very cardio. After 2 breaths, open your shoulder again, roll your fist, and you squeeze. And then you relax. One last time, squeeze, and then you relax. Next one called stabbing the shoulder. You open your shoulder, you grab the dagger, you point it to the well on your shoulder, which is part of the gallbladder. The back of the neck where we're doing massage is the gallbladder. So you open your shoulder, you point the dagger into your shoulder, and you stab. You feel the tightness in the back of your neck, and then you relax. Let the energy flow into your brain. Second time, stab, and then relax. One last time, stab, and then relax. Now the next one is very important, is stretching of the triple warmer. So you stretch out or the cross, touching, you feel the trees on both sides, you just have to push it. First, you rotate your wrist. Then you roll your fist, you take a deep breath, and you hold your breath, and you push. And then you go, boom, relax. Second time. Relax. One last time. relax. Same thing, front hanging, which means that you're locking your elbow as if these are the bamboo stick that you use to hang your clothes, right? You see the tree in front, you roll your wrist, fold your fist, and then take a deep breath and you push. And then second time. Bang means avalanche. It means that you're pushing so hard that you're causing an avalanche. Okay, so you notice that this exercise combines stretching and cardio, and then finally muscle retention. Okay, so you take up, you open your fist, you look up, you see this bar, right? Grab the bar. This is about this muscle. And then you pull yourself up, and then you relax. Second time. And then you relax. Okay, use your muscle, right? You don't use it, you lose it. And then relax. The second one is like ripping the foam ball. Grab the foam ball, half on one side, half the other. Training this muscle. Get ready? And then relax. Finally, second time. Relax. One last time. Relax. Now put your fists together to call it swallowing. Take all your saliva, swallow all the way down. Now check your ghost stand. Now this one requires that you straighten up your back because it's inversion, right? So it's all about the kidney energy, the kidney essence that rises through your spine into your brain. So you notice that the modern yoga does a lot of inversion for the same reason. So first of all, back of the hand touching. Okay, now the knees, you need to loosen up your knee. Straighten your back, you go down. Right? Heads are down, inverting your head. You squeeze your fist, back of the hand touching. You squeeze your fist, back of the hand touching. One last time. Okay, now palm facing up. Without standing up, okay, always loosening up the knee, activating the calf. You take a deep breath, following the center of your palm. Then you take a deep breath out. Take a deep breath in. Palm facing forward, lower your knee. See that big rock in front of you? Push. Take a deep breath. Swallow the universe. And then breathe out. Relax. Perfect. We have 11 minutes to meditate. Exactly. Perfect. All right. So now we're going to meditate. First, we're going to check on our posture. So when we sit, we don't like to use muscle when we sit. When we stand, it was opposite. We actually want to use the calf and the rest of the body. When we sit, we don't want to use muscle. So we sit with the feet touching the mat or touching the, if you sit in the chair, touching the floor. We're loosening up our hands. We don't need to do anything, just loosening up your hands. We straighten up your back. Then we lean back as if you go, oh, I'm going to fall over. No, don't worry, you won't. And then relax. Now, for those of you who have been doing this a while, I'm going to put in a little bit of refinement, which is after you stretch, you lean forward first, and then you lean back while holding your hip in place. So you feel a little bit of pressure on two sides of your lower back where the kidneys are. You maintain that pressure as you meditate. Then you take your shoulder and you open it, and then you relax. Then you take your forehead, lean back, and tuck in the chin. You close your eyes, but you relax such a way that you feel you close your eye, but you don't shut your eye. You close it, and you see a little bit of light coming through your eyelashes. And then finally, you take the tip of the tongue, you put it behind the teeth, right around here. Okay? There's an energy point actually right where the teeth meets the roof of the mouth. The energy point is called the J letter. So by doing that, you feel the wetness inside your mouth. They call it the J letter. It's very, very valuable because it restarts your digestion and your immunity. Now we're going to focus on the breath. First, we're going to do I know that I'm breathing, knowing. Know that I'm breathing in. I know that I'm breathing out. Now we go from knowing to anchoring. So we anchor our mind on a belly button. As we breathe in, we relax the stomach as if you're pointing the belly button forward. It's very important that you relax. If you don't relax, the diaphragm gets very stiff and you're not going to be able to um, use the diaphragm to breathe. You actually want to return back to the way you were when you were inside the mother's womb and also when you were first born. It was the only muscle you have. And it was the way that you maintained the harmony between the yang, the yin and the yang. Just imagine you were inside the mother's womb. If you didn't have that harmony, you would not be a viable fetus. It is that important. So let's get back to that. As I breathe in, I relax my stomach as if I'm pointing the belly button forward. As I breathe out, I tuck in my stomach as if I'm bringing my belly button back. All this time, completely focus on your belly button, but relax at the same time, which means two things. One is that you don't multitask. When you multitask, you increase your anxiety. So you do the opposite, which is unitask, one thing at a time. When you find that your mind drifts away, just ask your mind to come back. And when you come back, you just do one breath. I know I'm breathing in, relax the stomach, pointing the belly button forward. I know I'm breathing out, tuck in your stomach, bringing your belly button back. And that was good. One breath at a time. After one breath, you recommit. But if your mind drifts away, tell it to come back. Tell it to come back and just say, let's do one breath. All I need is one breath. Now let's just sit for 3 minutes. Getting started is like cranking the engine. just setting the foundation. Now we relax. We don't need to focus on the belly button anymore. We actually focus on the entire body. Let's just continue to feel a breath. As we breathe in, we feel a little bit of opening of the stomach, just a little bit that you didn't notice before, but now you notice. There's actually an energy point right below the belly button called the Sea of Qi. Its counterpart is in the back of the spine called the Gate of Life. And then on either side is where the kidneys are. The four energy point actually forms two pairs of yin and yang. The one in front is yin, the one in the back is yang. And then the two kidney energy points are one is yin, one is yang. So the four energy points guide your meditation. So first you rotate the hip forward, you lean back up the torso, you feel the pressure on the bottom of your back. Now that you feel that you're breathing in, you rotate your hips forward slightly, you lean back slightly, and then you rise from the back, the one that I call gate of life. As you rise, you feel the joints. In each of the joints is an energy point. There's a whole bunch of it until you get to the top of the head where all the yang energy comes together for the 100 As you breathe out, you come from the top of the head through the forehead to the bridge of your nose, and then to the tongue, starting with the tip of the tongue. The tip of the tongue is at the roof of the mouth. That's the gate nectar energy points. As you come down towards the belly button, towards the Sea of Qi, you lean back and then you relax. When you breathe in, you rise to the top of the head, straighten up your spine slightly. As you breathe out, you lean back, coming back to the belly button. Okay, now let's sit another 3 minutes. We're over time now. We sit another 3 minutes. If you have to leave, it's okay. Let's do this one first, and then I'll show you a little bit more. For those of you who are still here, let's do another 3 minutes with a little bit of refinement. As you breathe in, you feel some energy rising in your spine. You know where that comes from. That comes from the oxygen. Where does the oxygen come from? Oxygen comes from the forest. Who protects the forest? It's all the other beings. We call ourselves a human being. We keep thinking that we're human. We forgot that we are being. We forgot that there are a lot of beings out there who are supporting our life form. Not only from the oxygen that we breathe, but from the food that we eat, even from simple things like toilet paper and toothpick. It has to come from somewhere. And some beings are out there doing their part to support this life form. In India, there is a group of vegetarians that do not eat root vegetable. They only eat the leaf of vegetable because they believe by disturbing the roots, they will kill life forms. I want you to feel a sense of gratitude as you rise along your spine, feeling the energy. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving. That's a day of gratitude. I want you to prepare for that. Being very grateful to your family, being very grateful to your friends, your colleagues, your teacher, very grateful to first responders who are protecting us. As you get to the top of the head, I want you to lean back. And you lean back more than you normally do until you get to the point where you start to have fear of falling over. You finally experience fear, just like you experience a pain on your shoulder when we were exercising the joints. I want you to feel that fear. I want you to take that fear and accept that fear and let go of the fear as if you're letting it settle down. I want you to imagine a lotus pond on your stomach. And I want you to imagine that fear as if they are the mud in the lotus pond. So I want you to settle that fear onto the bottom of the pond, focusing on top of the pond where the lotus flowers are. And not let that fear become you. Just let it go as you lean back. And you do that by accepting who you are, accepting that fear. So here are the two things you practice. As you rise on your spine, you practice gratitude. Be grateful. As you come down, lean back more than usual. Experience that fear and practice acceptance. Accepting yourself as who you are, accepting others as who they are. Live in harmony. Harmony is the key to your physical health. Harmony is the key to your emotional health. Harmony is the key to your neurological health. Harmony is the key to your spiritual health. Harmony is the key to your health of the family, of the neighbors, of the society, of the planet. Practice that. Rise, be grateful. When you come down, practice acceptance. Okay? Now, it's so important that you practice gratitude and acceptance. It's so important that you put that into action. It's only because you're grateful that you can practice generosity. So I want you to take that gratitude and turn it into action and be generous. You don't actually have to donate money to be generous. You can just donate with your smile. You see somebody on the street, right? In San Francisco, we see lots of people sleeping on the street. At least have a smile. Don't be afraid of them. They're just your neighbors, all right? You can practice your smile with your family. When you have someone that you like, obviously it's easy to smile. Even when you have somebody you don't like, for some reason or another, practice the smile before you see that person. And then when you see the person, it's like you're opening a gate. That other person that has so much trouble with actually felt your positive energy before they even see you. Okay. Talking about generosity, we're coming to the end of the year, and I'm going to be collecting all of our collections, both on Insight Timer and Patreon. And we're going to donate all that to Venerable Hong, who has been practicing with us in English every first Tuesday of the month. And the next one is actually with not with Venerable Hong, but with Professor Kwok, who you remember. Who's going to talk about mental health again. That would be the first Tuesday of December. All right. And it will be on Insight Timer as well. So I want you to join us and be grateful that we have such great teacher. And to show your gratitude, you can make a donation if you like. And I will collect all that. And there will be a one-to-one matching. All right. Okay. So you guys keep it up. Look forward to seeing you again next Saturday. Okay? Let us be grateful. Let us be generous. Let us accept who we are, accept others as who they are. Let us be blessed with health, with peace, especially from inside, and with happiness. Namaste. OK，禮拜一見，多謝你哋支持。OK，拜拜。
謝師兄。
咁樣大家早，拜拜。